My name is Ray Dutton, and I'm proud to be here today as the Mayor Pro Tem for our great city. We appreciate all of you joining us here today as we take a look back at what changes we have seen here in Bellflower and what's coming to the community. In a few moments, we'll hear from our Mayor, Dan Coops, that will be giving us an overview of what is happening in '24 and a glimpse of what's coming in 2025. This past year, we remain committed to the revitalizing of Bellflower and the growth of our community. Before we get started today, I would like to invite Dr. Ryan J. Pelton, the pastor of the Rosewood Christian Reformed Church, to come on up for the invocation.
Well, thank you for having me. I just wanted to acknowledge today is Rosh Hashanah, which is a Jewish holiday. It's an interesting holiday, kind of a season of reflection. And I'm not Jewish. I am a Christian and a Christian pastor, but have deep Jewish roots. And one of the things that has helped me as a pastor, and also when I think about the work that you do, is Jeremiah 29, and it's actually a Jewish prophet who talks about praying for the welfare, the shalom of a city. And as cities flourish, we flourish. As we experience peace, our cities experience peace. And so I'd like to just pray for that this morning. Father God in heaven, we thank you for this time. We thank you for the faithful men and women that do good work here in Bellflower and beyond and in California. And we thank you that cities matter to you. And we just pray that as our cities flourish, we would flourish, that we would experience more peace here in Bellflower in all levels, not just in the absence of conflict, but socially, spiritually, emotionally, every level of our cities. God, may we see more and more of your peace and your shalom. So God, be with the men and women who lead faithfully. Give them wisdom in their work to serve the people of Bellflower and beyond well. And may you be honored and glorified as we eat, as we celebrate together, as we learn together. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Next, I would like to invite Jared Coops to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll be followed by the national anthem sung by the Bellflower High School Vocal Ensemble.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
No. That was excellent. At this time, I would like to take a moment to recognize some of our other guests that we have here today. And let's start with the City Bellflower Council. I'd like to recognize Mayor Dan Coops, the headliner today. And also Councilmember Wendy Morse. And Victor Sanchez. And last but not least, Councilmember Sonny Santa Ynez. Also joining us here today from Robert Garcia's office is his field representative, Julie Arce. Where are you at, Julie? There she is. Thank you for being here. And also from California Assembly member Anthony Rendon's office is his field representative, Gabby Besteros. Thank you. And then from the California State Senate, we have our very own Senator Bob Archuleta. And also joining us from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is Under Sheriff April Tardy. And Chief Jorge Valles. And we have Lieutenant Oscar Boteo. And the City of Bellflower's very own SAO team. That's our special assignment officers. Come on, guys. And joining us today from the Los Angeles County Fire Department, we have Deputy Chief Eleni Pappas, Acting Assistant Fire Chief Coy Deo, Battalion Chief Manuel Caron. Also, our very own Fire Station 98 and we don't want to forget our community service liaison, LaFonda Riggins. From the Cerritos College Board of Trustees today, we have James Cody Berkey and Trustee Marissa Perez. They're representatives from the Cerritos College. We also have representation from the downstairs neighbor, our Los Angeles County Fire Museum guys. Over there, I got a whole table. These would be the retired version, I think, of the Los Angeles County Fire Department, or tired. Additionally, we have representatives from the Bellflower Chamber of Commerce. I think you're back there. Please stand and be recognized. And Bellflower must be doing something kind of different around this. We have two city managers from surrounding cities joining us here today. So they're taking a peek at what's going on in Bellflower, I think. We have Downey, City Downey Council Member Dorothy Pemberton. Then we have the City of Cerritos, and then from the City of Cerritos, please welcome City Manager Robert Lopez. And we also would like to recognize all the other City of Bellflower public officials, commissioners, and community organizations and members being here today. Please stand and be recognized. And we do appreciate each of you taking time out to be with us here today. Now let's shift our attention to the second most important thing today, which would be lunch. So please enjoy lunch today. Which is catered by our very own caterer, exclusively TGIS. Please enjoy. And I made a mistake earlier by passing up the Bellflower Unified School District. Their board members are here and some of the staff. And I wanted to take this time to introduce them because I forgot And as a Bellflower Unified School District graduate, I really take that at heart. And when it comes to school districts, not every city has a school district in their city that goes into other cities. Some cities don't have a school district and they use support from other school districts in the surrounding cities. So Bellflower is special by having the Bellflower Unified School District with us. And again, my apologies to the board members of the Bellflower Unified District. And with that, is there anybody else I forgot? Thanks. It is my honor and pleasure here today to introduce my esteemed friend and colleague, someone who holds commitment in our community and has demonstrated exceptional service and leadership as the mayor this year of the city of Bellflower. My colleague, our friend, our community soldier, Mayor Dan Coops.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. Many of you I know in the room, and I'm glad that you were able to come out again. If you remember, 3 years ago, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and we couldn't meet inside. We met in a tent outside here on the green, and we had half the crowd, but we got it done. So we kept the tradition of the state of the city. And so to have a sold-out room is really a treat for me and the entire city council. When Ray didn't turn the page and didn't indicate that we had Bellflower Unified School District present, you need to know that Ray, myself, and Victor Sanchez are all graduate of Bellflower High. So we're proud of that. And so as a result of that is, Ray was smoking under the bleachers, but that's another story. He's reformed. We have the Bellflower High Choraleers here, you know, and sometimes they bring out the Mayfair folks. We said, you know, we really need to have the Bellflower High here. So students, singers, thank you so much for being here. You make us all look good and proud of the accomplishment of your department at Bellflower High. But anyway, you know, there's been a little talk about baseball in the last few days because of the passing of Pete Rose. And you probably have heard of the Hall of Fame player named Yogi Berra. And he had Yogi Berra's kinds of things that he would say that really didn't make sense, but they sometimes did. And the story I heard earlier this week was that Yogi was a New York Yankee, and he went to buy a pizza, and he's standing at the window. And the guy that offered him the pizza said to him, "Yogi, how do you want me to slice it? Into 6 pieces or into 8 pieces?" And Yogi replied, "Make it 6. I can't eat 8 pieces." So I'm going to give you an 8-piece presentation today. You're going to get it all. I'm going to do it quick, and it's kind of fun to show because we've got a lot of neat things going on in the city of Bellflower. Here we have Bellflower in 1938 versus 1952. You can see the map on the left of the open spaces over here. This is the riverbed. There's Bellflower High track. You can compare it over here. And how everything moved in here. All these open spaces were no longer there. We even had an airport at one time that ran parallel to the freeway. To the San Gabriel River. Here's our current zoning, and you can see how it's all filled in. We've got the 91 freeway here. We've got the riverbed still right where we left it. We got Bellflower High right here, and the paintball park over here, and of course our metro line going right through the middle here. But you can see how congested it now is. Every plot is full of some sort of building. Finance. So I'm going to start with where our money comes from. Right now, we've got $78.6 million income, and it's broken up into, on the pie chart there, 27.3 for restricted, and 58.3 is discretionary. So that's 65%. Revenue sources. This is where our money comes from, and you can see that Taxes are the biggest part of the pie there, that big green area on the bottom right. And then all the other bits of the pie there, 10%, licenses, permits, and charges for services, fines and forfeitures, intergovernmental. But that's where our money comes from. This is the price of, over the years, starting in 2015, all the way up to July of 2024. This is the average price for a single-family residential house here in Bellflower. Now, what's scary to me is, because I'm old, my wife and I bought our first house in Bellflower here, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, about 1,500 square feet, for $30,000. Now, this is 50 years later. Now, as city council members and planners, we're always thinking about what does the future hold. Now, if we go 50 more years from 777, how much will each single-family homes cost at that point in time? It'd be millions and millions of dollars if what has happened here continues. This shows our general fund revenues. That dark blue line, which stops at 5.3 million, is an exceptional year because that's the year that we had the pandemic and we were given money by the federal government to try to keep things going. The purple line right below it is our actual. And you can see it continues to increase, 19 years, 1920, 2021, they continue to go on our general fund. Now, if you look down here, 2006, 2009, I think Dutton got on council in 7, I got in 9. That's when it was really, and Sonny's right here. So we got to take responsibility for this. We had to do better, you know? Now, on the flip here, Victor got on about here. Got to give credit where credit's due. All right, here's general fund reserve. So this again shows our income streams, and you will see, again, back at the beginning of 09, 10, 11, we didn't have much going for us. We were paying our bills, but there was even a point in time where we had all the employees of Bellflower took a 10% pay cut in order to balance the budget. But we picked up speed, and right now, we have $5 million set aside for property acquisition. We got $42.6 million, and we still got our $10 million here, which is our fund that we pay our day-to-day bills with. Sales tax distribution. The sales tax Bellflower is 10.25. The city share is 1.75. And so that means you get $1.75 out of every dollar for the city, and 8.5 cents, the rest of that dollar, goes to all the things that are listed on the side over. Oh. Sales tax revenue, you continue to see how it increases. Down here at 4.3. Now, this past year, 15.9 came in sales tax. This is the property tax distribution. We receive 6 cents, 6.7 cents of every dollar that's provided for sales property tax, and the LA County schools take 45 cents and the 48 cents for LA County, and that's a total of 93, and then we are left with a 6.77. Here's something kind of cool. We set aside money for property acquisition, and recently we have made some acquisitions, and this date is 6/30 of 2024. Bellflower Boulevard, a Chamber of Commerce building, we bought that just recently for about $2 million. Paid cash for it. It's ours. The former Bank of the West building, that's a bank on the corner of Maple and Bellflower Boulevard, we bought several years ago for $1.7 million. Artesia Boulevard, we got a vacant lot over there by the DMV. We paid $175,000 for that. We bought the post office. The city of Bellflower now owns the Bellflower post office, and we paid $5 million for that. We also bought the Shoe Kingdom, that's on right across the street from the In-N-Out Burger, and the parking lot's behind it for 1.2. So there we have $10 million worth of properties, and we have cash reserve of $1,175,000 for a grand total of total properties, $11,205,000. Now, this is coming of the future, and we're in the process, and they've accepted our bid on White's Funeral Home. You might have noticed that there's a sign that says for sale, and so several members of the city staff toured the property yesterday, and they didn't sleep all night. They just freaked out over that place. You know, it's the time of year where you could really have a nice, one of those spook house deals where you go out and, but anyway. Some of the rooms are still locked. They're not sure if there were bodies in there or not, but they moved on. All right, cannabis tax. Now, this is something we were concerned about how this was going to go. But currently, we have 4 dispensaries, we got 4 distributors, we got 2 cultivators, and they generate $3.6 million worth of tax. Now, that doesn't include every year they got to renew their license, and that's $50,000. So they come to City Hall, some with cash, some with checks, some with wampum, whatever they have, and then we change where it is we're going to collect that money so that the thieves don't take it away. And that adds another $400,000 to that. So that really means that when it's all said and done, marijuana brings in $4 million a year. Now, we're smart enough to know that this is not going to last forever. So that's part of the reason why we're banking this money. If the federal government changes the jurisdiction, the classification of marijuana, there could be a time that you'll buy it at Walgreens and all the mom and pop dispensaries will be gone. But nevertheless, currently, it's been a good asset for the city. We've had 30 years of excellence in our financial reporting. We have had the same director of finance, Tay Ree, for 33 years. And he's part of the reason why we continue to get this 30-year award. Now, I should preface that. Tay was with us when I showed you that graph where we weren't doing as well. And I asked Tay yesterday when we were at an event, I said, how are we doing? He says, the city of Bellflower has never been as good a shape financially as they are now in the 33 years he's been here. And so that's saying something because Tay is a very conservative guy. And so he sleeps better at night knowing that we got money in the bank. Economic development. All right, you probably noticed when you came in the front door, we've got a project across the street that's being completed, and that's shown here on the bottom. But that didn't come about all of a sudden. The first rendition is on the upper left-hand corner. Right here, that was going to be 5 movie theaters. This is before the pandemic. And about halfway into the project, the guy that's developing it, Serrano's, maybe they're here today, they said, we're going to build about 95 units behind it, and we're going to put retail out in front here. And I said, wait a minute, what happened to our 5 movie theaters? The movie theater business is dead. People can't come into the house. They can't attend anything. So we changed it around to make it retail. So we always enjoyed this welcoming open area here. So they kept that, and they've got upstairs here, and they've got some other retail, and they've got a couple of the places rented. But that's going to be really a cool thing to see. As you enter Bellflower Boulevard, you're going to be able to enjoy and see people using this facade here. Now that's right across the street, 50 feet away from us. Newest building in Bellflower, which is ironic. You know, I've lived in Bellflower my whole life, so I kind of became unofficially the historian. And what's cool about that, there's nobody older than me, so that nobody audits me. I can say anything, and it's... But right across the street here, outside our fire museum, event center, is the first building built in Bellflower, and that's the train station. That little train station put there in 1910. So this is the nexus of where Bellflower began when it was just country roads out here. And so, ironically, 123 years later, we've come back to our nexus. We're back in this area and starting it all over again. We're sitting in a building here that we built several years ago for $10 million. It's all paid for. We put up a parking garage across the street. That's $10 million. We've got a $45 million project across the street over here, and that's going to lead on to others. And so I'm just really proud of I wanted you to hear the history of what we've done here. And now we've kind of moved up the boulevard, and you're going to see some slides of things that are going on south of the freeway. This is the Bellflower Center. That's on the corner of Cedar and Bellflower Boulevard. And you know that's where the Starbucks is. That's done already. Go back. Right there, the Starbucks is the upper right-hand corner. But they're going to finish off. You'll see building going on there currently, and that's going to be a full center. And that's right across the street from that vacant lot. That's the Gold property. And that used to be 2 different car dealers, and that's being worked on for development as well. But we kind of felt that we'd work on one end of the boulevard first, this end, and now we're going on the other end, and now we're working in the middle as well. So here's a picture of our latest deal, and that was our butterfly park that's located on Trabuco in Chicago. It was an old construction yard, and that picture was taken yesterday showing all the neat things that are being grown. We put plants in there that attract butterflies, and they've come. And what's interesting here, we've got a picture of the city council cutting the ribbon, and the guy in the blue shirt there, that is Jeff Stewart. Now, Jeff would never want to be in a picture. He was our city manager for 10 years. He was part of the reason why we've had such great success. And so to get him on a picture, we do have a likeness of him. And he went to the school that was taught city managers are always in the background. You don't put them out. The city council's the guys. You will shine the light on you, but we work in the background. And that's how he rolls. Now, this is on the corner on the right-hand side, and that's McDonald's is being built where the Just Tires once was. And that's the corner of Woodruff and Artesia Boulevard. It's kind of a new concept. There'll be no sit-down area there. You're going to drive through it just like you would a Starbucks that has just a drive-through component. And that way it minimizes how many employees they need, because at $20 an hour, you can't have too many and make any money. And then the Chick-fil-A is going in, and that's over there across the street from Kaiser. It's an office building that they bought, and they're going to tear down. So we'll have a Chick-fil-A, the very first one in Bellflower. This is on the corner here of our Alondra and Bellflower Boulevard. We just dedicated this about a month ago. And there's a statue there, and it's called Journey to Market. And that was once located outside here, but we took it from there and put it on the corner. And then we got a reader sign there on the corner that indicates what's going on in the city. Here's something for the future we're working on. It's about to come online. The city has made a decision to install citywide wireless broadband throughout the city. And so it's going in phases. Phase 1 is about where we're standing, downtown Bellflower. Phase 2 will be in the yellow area, and Phase 3 at the top in the blue, and then Phase 4. And that will allow anybody to be able to have their own wireless broadband in their home. One of the concerns we had, and this goes along with our concerns for students in our city, is when there was a point in time when they couldn't attend class, if they didn't have access to a computer or the broadband, they didn't get their lessons. And so we're going to try to provide a way that any house in town will be able to use the internet. We've even got a program where we'll provide the hardware, not the computer, but the hardware to hook it up. And that's free. It doesn't cost a dime. It's being paid for by the ads that are run on this broadband. And we're kind of innovative. This is a Bellflower first. Bellflower is often the guinea pigs for things like this, but this is pretty futuristic to have the whole town being able to operate wireless broadband. Bellflower Farmers Market operation, we moved them a couple years ago. They were in Sims Park, and now they're located over here behind us in the open area that we often show movies in the evenings. And they are open from 3 to 7 on Monday afternoons. More vendors, more selection, very positive place. A lot of activity going on at the Bellflower Farmers Market. This is what I talked about earlier. This is what we acquired, and that building on the left is where the Chamber of Commerce is, and then the best part of the building, or the biggest part, is behind it, and that was an area where it was used for communications in the city, and they moved out of there and gave us an opportunity to buy it. And then, of course, you see the Bellflower Post Office. And then you have, between these post office and that building, a couple of 3 parking lots, and that went with it as well. So you're going to say to me, what are you buying that stuff for? We're looking always to improve the city. The state of California has indicated to us that we have to build in the next 10 years, like maybe it's 8 years now, 3,700 housing units in Bellflower. And so we're looking for a place to do these kinds of activities, and this very well could be one of them. Now, what's going to happen? The post office still has 3 more years on their lease, and we're going to try to put a project together that will both be residential and have the post office component. We've got to have a post office. All right, this is a great program that's been developed by Economic Development. It's a business partnership program. It's entrepreneurs and Spanish-speaking students with Spanish-speaking faculty. And it's about an 8-week course taught in the evenings on how to become a business person, an entrepreneur, and teach them the whereby and wherefores. And then we have a graduation ceremony that's indicated up here. You know, they're all getting their diplomas. And down here is an example of one of the businesses that was opened as a result of them learning about how to conduct themselves. But it's been a very, very positive. There's 30, 35 people in every one of those classes. Communication and outreach. This is something that's special because we're able to continue to communicate to everyone in the community what's going on in their town. And we do that through electronics, and we also send some brochures out. But we got the Bellflower Citizen, we got the Bellflower Quarterly, and just kind of keep people abreast of what's going on. This little booth here at Bellflower Economic Development, they go to trade shows promoting Bellflower and what to do with how to get more people interested in having a business here in town. What's next? So this is kind of what I just talked about, the city broadband project. We call that Bellflower Connect. We're going to continue to support and promote businesses in Bellflower. We've got grant funding for economic development programs, community housing development programs, utility box artwork program. You probably see the utility boxes, and we have depicted different animals riding skateboards and stuff like that. We're going to clean those up, make them nicer. They get kind of faded out with time, get graffiti on them and stuff. And then website redesign. We're always improving that to make it a little more user-friendly and more informative. Building and planning. Building division accomplishments. We issued 11 permits for self-certification program. That means if you got an architect and he writes up all your plans and gets it all done, and he'll stamp them that it's all approved and good by his standards, he can submit that to the city, and the city will say, okay, that's all we need. We don't have to have our planning staff look at it, and that architecture is then responsible for the construction of that building to the right standards. Really speeds up the process. Issued 1,251 construction permits this year, which included 86 accessory dwelling units. So when you can see a house being built behind a house, state of California has dictated, cities can't say not to do that, that we have to accept that and make sure the setbacks are right, and there have been 86 accessory dwelling units that have been permitted and be constructed. And we're completing the electronic conversion of building permit and plan files. Again, you'll be able to submit a lot of your paperwork online instead of coming into City Hall and laying it on the counter in paper version. And then we executed a new building and safety services contract. We had for many years a company that took care of all of our outwork on looking at plans and stuff like that. And we decided here a couple of meetings ago that we needed to make a change. And so Wildan is now going to take care of all those services. This is a project just about completed. Many of you probably not even know where it is because it's over on Lakewood and Gardendale, kind of at the edge of Bellflower. But it's really cool. It's going to have the gas pumps right there, and you got your place to eat, and it's a 7-Eleven store all in one place. The idea being that as you get on the freeway, you can get your last gallon of gas or get a snack before you get on the freeway. But it's really a cool project on what once was a used car lot. How many used car lots do you think there are in the city of Bellflower? Just what do you think? 51. Yeah. How many trailer parks? 49. Think about that. We also have 50 churches. What's next? Planning for housing. We're going to draft new land use regulations to accommodate the 3,000. That's what I was talking about, the state of California's demand of 3,700 more living units. We're going to modernize our permitting processes, and we're planning flexibility on our zoning code. So just trying to make what's appropriate for our city. The biggest change that I discovered, and it's hard for me to give into it, because to me, Bellflower Boulevard has always been a retail center. I grew up on this boulevard. I grew up on Main Street about 100 yards from here. My mother didn't drive, and we walked to J.C. Penney's at least once a week. Well, that's the exchange. That's on the other side of Ramona. I mean, that's a pretty good step when you're 3 years old. My brother got to ride in the stroller. I got to stand next to it. But nevertheless, Amazon has pretty well killed the mom and pop retails in every sector. I mean, you can't get a stationery store, a bookstore, or a shoe store. All that stuff's done online, so we have to reevaluate the zones where we have those kinds of, historically, those kinds of activities. And so you're seeing more things like we see across the street here with residential components. Still with some retail, but the commercial part is not driving the bus. It's the residential, because we've got to build 3,700 units to accommodate the shortages that are now going on in the city of Bellflower. Public Works. Citywide slurry seal. We have the greatest streets in Bellflower. And if you drive to other surrounding cities, you can often hear your tires going through potholes and the rattling and the nonsense that goes on. But we have a program where we slurry seal every 3 or 4 years. Every street gets resealed. We're always taking care of the main arterials and putting in curbs and gutters, making sure that you don't get behind on that stuff. And it's an important part of our city. These are some of the improvements we've made. Lakewood and Bellflower, the upper left, and Cedar Street, that is right where we have our homeless shelter, and we put a signal there for the first time because we wanted safety in crossing Lakewood Boulevard, which is a very fast street. Also, Lakewood Boulevard in Maine, same deal. Never had a signal there before, but we want to make sure that people can walk from one side of the street to the other without getting hit. We improved the intersections there. That's Flower and Lakewood Boulevard, and of course Lakewood Boulevard and Somerset, all new signals and new intersection. Our neighbor over here, Paramount, they got a big refinery there that's going to be used even more than it has been, and that means a lot more trucks are going to be coming out of there and getting on the 91 freeway. And so as a result, we've had to rebuild and reinforce many of our streets in that area to accommodate that larger truck traffic. Lakewood Boulevard for many years was owned by the state of California, and before there was a 605 freeway, Lakewood Boulevard was our 605. That's why it's so big and wide. And with time, the other cities have purchased their sections. So Downey bought their part of Lakewood Boulevard, Lakewood bought their part, but Bellflower never bought theirs. So the state of California approached us, why don't you buy Lakewood Boulevard within the city limits? And so we made a deal, and I just talked to Len Gurecki, our Public Works Director, before the meeting. And I said, what did we pay for that? And he says, the state of California paid us $4 million to take it. So, thank you, Bob. Yeah.
Here to represent.
Yeah. Organization infrastructure. So for years, Public Works Department, which operates here on Flora Vista Street, operated out of modular trailers and temporary trailers that were there 30 years. So finally we got funds together after we had a couple of good financial years, and we set up a new office there whereby we've got a meeting room here on the right, we've got an entry on the front there for the public to come in and present their concerns, and there's the counter inside the building that you see in the middle. So just a real cool addition. When Len Gurecki came to work for us, about 10 years ago, we promised him about a year after he got here. 9 years later, we finally got it done. All right, what's next? Construction of the Oak Center at Sims Park. Now I want to stop there and dwell on that because Bob Archuleta came to that and he says, you know what, I've got money for you. And I want to thank you, Bob. That really makes a difference on making sure that we get that thing done correctly. Sims Park is going to have a stormwater capture in the main park, and what that does is the water that percolates after rain will go down to the aquifers, and the state of California and will pay for all new diamonds, new grass, new sod. Well, the park will look like brand new. We're going to install a Ninja outdoor fitness equipment at Thompson Park. We're going to have road resurfacing projects on Alondra and Bellflower Boulevard. They've been working on that already, putting in new sidewalks and new approaches that are handicapped amenable. We prepared an urban forest master plan. We've got a grant for $1 million to put new trees throughout the city, and that'll happen about a year from now. It's going to take us about that much time to figure out what trees we want, where to put them, and how they meld into the trees that we already have in the city. Security plans for city facilities. Now I'm going to give credit here to Congressman Garcia, they're represented here today. They gave us about $800,000 for cameras to put in the park, to put throughout the city that we can monitor the activities so that the vandals don't have a heyday on us. But again, thank you for the congressman and his office for being allowed us to have that money. Now here's something really cool. The last item there, bulky item graffiti removal. When we have, the city is closed every other Friday, and after a 3-day weekend, which you have your Friday, you have your Saturday off, and you have your Sunday, we come back on Monday, and the city graffiti is more intense than ever. And if it's the first of the month, everybody that's moved out puts their mattresses, any kind of furniture they don't want to take along goes in the parkway. And it takes us about 3 or 4 days to dig out of that. So we instituted a deal now. We have 7-day-a-week graffiti removal. We have a 1-800 number that works 7 days a week. If you see graffiti, you call it. And we will have someone out there that day. It could be Saturday morning, by Sunday morning, it can be Sunday afternoon. We have somebody to come out and remove that graffiti before it becomes a real issue. And also, we have someone that you call that other number on there, bulky item pickup. They'll come pick up all the stuff that's in the parkway, get rid of it. Because we find, just like graffiti, once you don't deal with it, it gets worse. And a side note is, the camps that I'll show you a picture of that the homeless construct are often the construction materials are the things they find in the parkway. So by removing that more quickly, we're able to minimize how many camps are being built. We take away the building materials. Parks and Recreation. Bellflower has, we have the Day of the Shred, and that's when you bring out all your things that you want to have shredded, that personal files, and we'll shred it for you at the park. 225 cars showed up for that. We had 6 summer street fests, total of attendance, 16,625. Now, PJ Milana, he counted every one of those people by, so I know this number's perfect. And what we did this year, great idea, PJ brought it forward, let's do them consecutively. So it wasn't like we stopped every other week and did a movie or something. We put all of our street fests in consecutive order and then had a different kind of band at every kind of street fest. So you might have Motown one week, we might have the Beach Boys another week, we might have Hispanic music the next, but we had music for every kind of genre. We're going to do the home decorating contest. We had 23 homes decorated and recognized by the city and by the mayor during the holiday season. This summer, the Parks and Recreation ordered a summer kickoff. We have movie night on the rooftop of the main. So instead of having the movies back here, we put them on the top of the main. We got a big screen, we got audio, we got video, and we had 300 people at top of the parking structure watching movies. We also did something kind of cute, and it's not written here, but kind of reinvented the idea of a drive-in movie. Sims Park, we invited everybody to bring their car. We put up a big screen. We put out a way for them to listen, and we are doing a drive-in movie in the Sims Park recreation area. A photo contest is taking place with submission deadline of November the 1st, and that was brought forth by last year's mayor, Sonny Sandianez, and so we're going to continue to do that. And of course, we're going to do the Christmas tree lighting ceremony at the beginning of December, and I invited Bob Archuleta because we invited him when he first got on the set. He says, this is great stuff. We had 3,500 people there, and I'm hoping you're available to come again this year because it really is a treat. All right, on the left there, you'll see Remember and Honor. You know, we have a library garden, and several years ago, when Juan Garza was our mayor, who's a veteran, he said, you know, we need to have a Veterans Memorial. So under his leadership, we put a Veterans Memorial together, and it's shown there on the left. And we're going to have, in November the 2nd, our annual Veterans Memorial celebration and honor our veterans. We are doing some changes to it because the armed services have changed. We built that before there was a Space Force section of armed services, and so we need to honor them as well. One of the flags that are there, we had a flag on it for the POWs, MIAs. So we're going to change that into a Space Force, but not to forget the MIAs and POWs. We're going to put them on the flag, on the American flag with our at the top and the POWs, MIA right below it. So we'll still have representation in all the branches of service, and then we'll have a plaque to indicate the MIA POW. And that's just a great event, and we have so many veterans in this city. We had, about a year ago, I told the kids, I graduated from Bellflower High in 1969, not 1869, 1969. And one of the classmates came to me from the class 67 and said, you know, there are a lot of kids from Bellflower that were in the Vietnam War that there was never any recognition of. And I have a list of all those that were killed in Vietnam doing active combat. There was other fatalities, of course, from Agent Orange. They continue to die even to this day. But there was about 20 different individuals who died during the periods from 1964 to 1968. We got that together, and we put it on a plaque, and we put that in our Veterans Garden. And we had a memorial service for them about a year ago to dedicate that, and their families were there. It was quite interesting and quite needed. Talked about the tray lighting. Volunteer Center. So the Volunteer Center does all kinds of neat things. The one I always enjoy the most is the backpacks. See it up there where they're lined up, and we fill those for the kids that need it to start school. And how can you start school if you don't have the proper equipment? And we do all kinds of other things. You have the yard sales. We have the Bellflower Looking Better, and that's written right here. That started back in the 80s when Bob Stone was our mayor, and it continues to this day, 30 years later. They roll off a big bin in the middle of your neighborhood. We announce it beforehand. And if you've got some stuff in your garage or on your yard you want to get rid of, you fill up the bin, they haul it away. It doesn't cost a dime. City pays for it all. We have this leadership experience and development volunteer job training. Again, that was instigated here recently, where we're looking for kids to be able to work for the city in a recreational situation. And so they can volunteer and learn at the city by our staff on how to conduct themselves as an employee. And there's a good chance they may be hired to work for our city when they graduate. But it's really been an effective way of keeping young people in the loop as to how the city works and training them for future job employment. Newly added recreational spaces. We got pickleball at Carruthers Park. We got the grand opening of the Thompson Park Playground. You see the kids over there playing on new equipment. We got soccer balls available for checkout at the park office. We got the tot lot, and we got a soccer zone over at Sims Park. It's depicted there on the right-hand side. Lots of new stuff coming along that, PJ tells me he even bought a new pitching machine. I don't know if it's been installed yet, but that's at Carruthers Park, but we can throw the ball at you 100 miles an hour, so you think you're batting against Ohtani. All right, here we go. Upcoming projects. We have the one on the left is the Ninja Warrior deal where you can go through there, and it's a pretty intense way if you get through that to make yourself stronger. It's also the green on the right shows you how aerial view of how it lays out. And then the pictures below it show how intense that is. That's not a skateboarding ramp, that's, although the kids will probably use it for that. But this on the red item on the right there is a ramp to be used for part of the physical recreation. Constitution Park Revitalization Project. We're going to give credit to the council member Victor Sanchez. This is located in his district, and it wasn't be intended to. We kept it up, but it was just a place where people were making drug trades. So we fenced it off. We leased that land from the Edison Company, but we're putting playground equipment back in there, a walking path, a fitness station, and security cameras, again, provided by Congressman Garcia's office. And that'll be another asset in our city that's going to be more fully utilized. That's located over there near the intersection of Lakewood and Cedar, not right across the street from the homeless shelter. This is what Bob Archuleta is doing the furniture in, and you can see we've already got the furniture there. But here's the artist's conception of the building. It's got 11,000 square feet, almost 12,000 square feet. It's going to be developed in Sims Park on the edge of the parking lot. And the design phase has already been completed. We're putting it out for bid to see what prices comes back. And that'll be meant for the seniors and for the youth. We recently toured the senior center in Norwalk, and what they told us is in the morning, it's all seniors. Starting at 8 o'clock in the morning until about 1 or 2, they have lunch there, they play games, you name it, on the computers. I see them sewing, they were doing line dancing, all kinds of fun stuff. And about 1 o'clock, I guess they poop out, and they go home for a nap. And then the kids come in, and then they're there from about 1 to 5. But it has total use throughout the day by the different generations of folks. Upcoming projects. This is a concept design of what we're doing at Sims Park. The green area here, that's what we now have. There's 2 baseball diamonds there that'll be restored, and we're going to have the turf all replaced here. We're going to extend the parking lot. The youth and senior centers here on the corner, and the storm drain run diversion. Again, this is all provided by the state of California. And building that I keep referring to as the senior center, we have all the funds not only to furnish it, thanks to Senator Archuleta, but we have all the money already set aside to build it. So when that's completed, that will be just like this building, debt-free. Master plan, what's next? So we've had some different situations throughout the town where people say we need this, we need that, and we've actually invited people to come to different meetings to tell us what it is they would like to see improved in Bellflower in the way of parks and recreation. So we're putting that all together, so we may be doing some adjustments as to what kinds of activities and what kind of equipment we put in the different parks. But we're seeking and have received input from those throughout the community. All right, City Clerk. Exciting. Myra, I just love the city clerk's office. I liken to them, if you had a band, they're the drummer in the back. They're not the lead singer out in front, but they're keeping the beat. They're keeping us all on track. And they monitor all of our meetings, of course. They're always sitting there taking minutes as they're recorded. They support all our meeting management. They put out the minutes. They prepare all the resolutions and agreements and ordinances for public consumption. And when you're on city council, a lot of people don't realize this. There's probably a lot of reasons people don't want to run. You have to fill out more forms than you'll know. You have to list every asset you have, what you owe on it, who your debtors are, how many cars you have. I mean, everything about your life is public knowledge, and that's put on the World Wide Web. So there are no secrets when you get done running for a public office. Or in many places, our commissioners are subjected to the same kind of stuff. Transparency and accessibility for public records. 24/7 access to city records on the city's website. We receive over 600 requests for public records each year. There's hundreds of boxes of city records that are handled for archiving and requests for record and staff research. And we have a contract with folks called Iron Mountain, and a lot of that stuff's hauled out there, and then if we need something, we got to retrieve it, and there's a price for that. But it's a big deal keeping records for a city that's been in business since 1957. Transparency and accessibility. The city clerk is the filing officer, like I said, for the statement of economic interest and campaign statements for city officials, and it also coordinates the biennial review of the conflict of interest code and ethics training. As a council member and also our commissioners, many of which are here today, we are invited to come to City Hall, and we go through about a 4 or 5 hour class on being a good student, or conducting yourself correctly and not doing illegal activities. And so we have to graduate with that. We get a diploma, and that's put in our file. And if we don't do it, you can't stay in the office that you've been a part of. Election administration, again, that's part of the city clerk's responsibility. They're in the midst of that right now. And we have a municipal election coming up November 5th. That's our presidential election. In the old days, we used to have our elections in the spring. And we decided, this city council says, it's fair if we do it when everybody's being elected at the same time, more people come out, there's more people that have a voice in what's being said. So we now melded our elections to be the same time, and that's in the fall. Public safety. This is a chart that shows what goes into public safety. And my contention has always been, and whenever we run for office, public safety is always number one concern. Nobody wants to live in a town where they don't feel safe. They're going to move somewhere else, or they're going to, it's not good. So we always give that the most attention. And there's the different attributes that we need to concern ourselves with. Patrol deputies, detectives, Southwest Patrol, and Neighborhood Watch. That's all melds together to be able to have an effective public safety arena. Southwest Patrol, you might notice, that's a private concern. We had enough money in the budget where we went to the Sheriff's Department and asked if they could supply more deputies, but they're short. They don't have the personnel that they would like to have. The ones that they do have are working overtime, and they said, we'd love to be able to help you, but at this point in time, nobody wants to be a cop. That's the bottom line. It's a hard job. So we solicited a company called Southwest Patrol, and they, some of them carry weapons, but we have them do some of the lesser things that need to be dealt with. They clear out the parking garage at night, make sure it's not anything going on in there at night. They work with the homeless to make sure that they're in a safe area, offering the chance to go to our homeless shelter. But hopefully we're not mean to the homeless people. We simply try to exchange with them the ideas of trying to help them. In our homeless shelter, we have 50 individuals. Right now, I think there's 47, both men and women. And we even have an area for kennel for the dogs. So we're full service. And it's really worked out well. And we're now working towards a transitional permanent housing whereby once they're finished at the homeless shelter, we're trying to get them a place to live, again, state and county and city supported, so they can get back on their feet again. So it's an ongoing process for these poor folks. Public highlights, increased use of Southwest Patrol, which put on, one of the things we did recently is we asked them to put 3 more personnel out, and they come to work at midnight. And they work from midnight till 8 in the morning, and their job is to go around and look around the city and do the things that ordinarily aren't being taken care of. And again, the parking garage, the parks, anywhere that there dangerous situations might occur, they're out patrolling that all night long. They complete a firework code language update and illegal gambling massage parlors. Next picture, there's our crime rate. So again, back, I'm not going to take credit for all the crime, but over here in '94, we were over here and it started coming down. They developed a thing called Bellflower Against Gangs, BAG, and that really made a difference. We got our own substation, and through that, we are in a downward trajectory on crime here in Bellflower. So these are the concerns we have, and this is what we have the SAOs, Special Assignment Officers, and thankfully I know this is no fun, they're trained as sheriff deputies, and then we have them out trying to explain to the homeless people that you can't stay here. And that's an example of what they run into every day. We have code enforcement. We melded code enforcement into public safety, and it was a lot more effective that way. It was a planning tool, and you can see how we picked up about 500 more cases during the last year that are being dealt with and to a successful conclusion. These are some of the activities that we frown upon. Not to say that cannabis is bad, but if you do it on your own, it is. So that over here, this is a guy that's gone off the chart. I think that the state of California says you can grow 6 for personal use, but after that, no good. Over here, this is on Bellflower Boulevard. We found out there was a gambling hall there, and we picked up all the equipment, and Len's using that now at the Public Works. No, it's just stored over there. New Hope Shelter. This is a shelter. It's an industrial building that we rented. Spent a ton of money making it as nice as you see. On the right there, you see the different cubicles for offices. But we had to put bathrooms, kitchen, dormitories, air conditioning. It was just a shell. And we improved it to the point where we're very proud of it. And again, Senator Archuleta has toured that with us, and he knows what we're doing there. And of all the cities in the area, I think Bellflower and Whittier, correct me if I'm wrong, Senator, are the only 2 that have active homeless shelters. Did good on our time. I went fast, but Bellflower is a great city. And whenever we go to it used to be, I'll never forget, I went to a Metro meeting for my first time. This is 10 or 15 years ago, and they're and we all had to pay dues of $10,000 a year. And the president was going around the table asking who had paid their dues. And Bellflower had, and another city hadn't done it, Huntington Park. And they said to the guy, even Bellflower paid their dues. And I thought, really, are we that bad off? I didn't realize until I got to that meeting that people looked at us with disdain. You know, we weren't keeping up. But obviously, we're doing better. City Manager Cerritos is here, and he probably knows that everybody aspires to have a financial statement, not unlike Cerritos. I mean, with 25 car dealers and 2 malls, pretty good. We got 1 car dealer and marijuana. But, but we're making it work. And we have a city staff that is conscientious. And I got to recognize the fact, what you see, these successes don't come overnight. Ray and I and Sonny and Victor and Wendy, we lose sleep over this city. When we leave a meeting, we get out of there at 9 or 10 o'clock, and Victor's no better than the rest of us. He's only 30 years old. He said, it takes me 2 hours to go to sleep because you're still wound up from all the things that have transpired during the meeting. That's how much we care about this city and want it to continue to grow. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.